Welcome to the Lounge Lizards podcast, presented by Fabrica 5. It's so good to have you here. It's a leisure and lifestyle podcast founded on our love of premium cigars, as well as whiskey, travel, food, work, and whatever else we feel like getting into. My name is Gizmo. Tonight I'm joined by Pagoda, Senator, Grinder, and Bam Bam. And our plan is to smoke a cigar, drink some wine, talk about life, and of course, have some laughs. So take this as your 147th official invitation to join us and become a card-carrying lounge lizard. Plan to meet us here once a week. We're going to smoke a Cuban cigar tonight, share our thoughts on it, and give you our formal lizard rating. We debate whether a market correction has started for Cohiba and Trinidad. We learn what marca might be next for a Habanos brand pivot, and we share a listener voice memo, all among a variety of other things for the next 90 minutes. So sit back, get your favorite drink, light up a cigar, and enjoy as we pair Château d'Esclans, Whispering Angel Rosé with Hoyo de Monterrey, Epicure number 3. A brand new release from Cuba tonight. It's the Hoyo de Monterrey Epicure number 3. And it's a Robusto, or a short pyramid, really. It's a 54 ring gauge cigar by 4 7/8 inches long. And boys, before we begin, I'd like to say a prayer.
Okay.
I would like to say a prayer to the cigar gods.
The Taino gods.
The Taino gods.
Oh.
Not only are we smoking an Hoyo tonight on the pod, but we have been on a bad run
We have.
of Cuban cigars.
We have. But honestly, this is a beautiful little cigar.
I think so too, but we have
Look at
said this
this.
prayer to the Cuban cigar gods tonight. Please let us have a nice Cuban cigar experience on the podcast tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
I have to say, I typically love this marca. But you guys are
That
gonna
makes
scold
one of us.
me.
Yeah, I don't hate it. If you get a good one.
Oh, I hate it.
The factory name on this cigar, boys, is an Originalis. It's a new release size. Let's cut this thing. See, we're getting on the cold draw on the wrapper. Now, here's a good question for you. How much are you guys going to take off this pyramid? I'm going to take off very little in my
About
first cut.
1/8 of an inch.
Yeah. See how it is.
Draw's nice.
Mine's tight. Here
Really?
we go.
Oh boy, mine's
Here
perfect.
we go. They didn't hear our prayers.
Yeah, mine's pretty good.
Mine's tight.
Oh yeah,
Mine's real tight.
it's good. It's really good.
Very good.
Not getting much on the cold draw, but it is wide open.
I'm cutting a second cigar. I'm not suffering through an oil tonight.
Don't do it.
Good for you.
Wide open draw.
There we go.
What are you guys getting on the cold draw?
It's pretty faint. Maybe a little bit of cedar and a slight hint of raisin, maybe.
I don't think I'm even getting that.
Yeah, it's very faint.
Maybe cedar. Maybe.
I'm getting cedar and air.
Oxygen.
That hasn't oxidized.
May it oxidize tonight. To the cigar gods. May it oxidize tonight. If it's ever going to oxidize.
We could use some oxidization.
We need it tonight
right
on the Hoyo Epi 3. All right, boys, let's light this thing. The Hoyo de Monterrey Epicure number 3. New release from Cuba.
now. Is this a 52 ring gauge?
Again, it's a 54 ring gauge cigar
My lord.
by 4 7/8 inches long.
We could use a New World lighter on this thing.
Oh, yeah.
I feel I've evolved quite a bit because this 54 ring gauge is seeming pretty large.
Do we have an age statement on this?
This is a brand new release. Came out in September 23. This cigar is from December 23. So pretty fresh. This is the latest release from Hoyo de Monterrey out of Cuba. And their latest addition to the regular production line.
Yeah. As it takes about 20 minutes to light this thing, I will say it's a beautifully constructed cigar. The wrapper
It
is
is.
gorgeous.
And it feels good in the hand as well, like for me.
Typical Hoyo. Just gonna say.
This is the 4th in the series of the Epicure line. The 3rd that we're doing on the pod. We've done the Epicure number 1, the Epicure number 2 tonight, the Epicure number 3. There's also an Epicure Especial in the line that we have not done.
I got to interrupt you. This is very, very good off the light. I mean, I am.
I love it.
Oh,
Prayers are being
I
answered.
love it.
Maybe we should say a prayer every episode.
this is really good.
Yeah, that's really nice on the light.
You see it new 1, 2, 3. 3 strikes and
Now,
Hoyo's
hold on.
out.
Hold on. Senator's the only one that's had this cigar in the room. Is that right?
That's right.
You had this in Cuba
Yeah, I
Was-
had it early this year, March or April.
at Cohiba Atmosphere. Is that right?
At Cohiba Atmosphere,
There
I
you
was looking through their humidor, spotted these, knew this was a new cigar, and I hadn't seen this anywhere in Havana on previous trips. So Quickly snagged a few and smoked one right there in their lounge. And for me, number one, I hate Hoyo as a brand
Yeah.
because I've had too many disappointing experiences that have negated the positive experiences I've had with the brand. This cigar, Hoyo generally is a milder profile that they go for. And this fits neatly within that profile, but the flavor that I got for that milder profile, I was pleasantly surprised and very happy with. So I'm curious what everybody thinks.
Listen, smoking a Cuban cigar in Cuba, you can't go wrong.
This is kind of true.
This is very nice on the light, I got to admit.
Yeah, and the retrohale is delicious. A slight graham cracker I'm getting right now. Maybe a touch of saltiness. And a very faint honey right now I'm getting, maybe.
I'm getting a nuttiness too.
A very faint, maybe like an almond in the back. I like it. Wow. How much are these?
These are right around $22.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm getting this is also hilarious. Kind of up mini.
Yeah.
The nuttiness for sure
Yeah.
is Upman-esque to me.
Yeah, this is really nice on the light.
Wow. This is surprising.
Yeah.
Believe me, I was shocked. I mean, the fact that I texted you guys while I was there saying we ought to do this on the pod.
Honestly, that's the only reason we're doing it is
Right.
because we've not had a great experience with Hoyo on the pod. This is only because Senator had a fresh one and said it was great. So
Yeah.
that's why we're here.
I have some questions for all of you. Now, other than putting the performance issues aside, because the plugged nature of this entire marca is kind of pervasive with every cigar that they have, but when you've gotten a good Hoyo, the flavor profiles have actually been very good. Am I wrong?
On good ones, yes.
On good ones, yeah.
When they're good, they're good.
When they perform well.
When they don't perform well, they're
You can't smoke them.
really bad.
Yeah, you just can't smoke the
Yeah.
cigar.
There's a wide range of how these can perform,
Yeah.
and it's really either on one end or the other.
It's for me personally, it's really a performance problem, not a flavor profile problem with this entire marca. Because the marca overall is delicious if you get a good one.
My history with Cuban cigars starts with Hoyo, and I love it. I love the label, the bands. I love the design.
There's even a weird pungent nature on the tongue. It's like this almost like sour cream thing. I'm sorry, I'm excited about it. That I'm loving right now. It's really pretty freaking good.
Sour cream? Is that what you said?
A little bit of just kind of like a pungent some
I
kind
can
of
see
creamy
that.
pungent on the tongue.
It's like
kind
a
of in the middle.
high fat yogurt,
Maybe.
like a skyr.
Maybe. A what?
Skyr? Not a low-fat yogurt, a high-fat yogurt.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back on the reservation now.
I'm serious.
Pagoda, what do you think on the light?
It's very pleasant. That's all I can say. I'm not getting any high fat yogurt. I don't know what that tastes like. It's like I could see that a little bit of the yeast, the
Something.
sour
They
flavor.
use high-fat yogurt in Indian food.
They
Oh, yeah,
do.
they
They do. It's a very specific flavor. I'm not getting that at all right now. But overall, pretty pleasant though on the light.
I think the tanginess you're referencing is definitely evident.
Yeah, I think that's
Let me
what I'm
put it that
referring to.
way.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I'll also say I had this cigar in the afternoon, which I think is a perfect time
Mm-hmm.
for this flavor profile.
So when the cigar that you had in Cuba, how was the texture of it? Was it wet? Was it dry? Was
It was perfectly stored. That's the one thing.
that
Cohiba,
humidor is that's a good humidor.
for loose sticks that you're going to want to smoke in Havana, I think really the only place that they consistently are ready to smoke is Cohiba Atmosphere.
Yeah.
They keep that at a lower RH and actually regulate, even attempt to regulate the humidity there in a way that most other places just
Most
don't.
of the others are just open air.
Yep.
I don't think we've ever bought a bad cigar from Cohiba Atmosphere.
No, we've
in Cuba.
we've got some real gems there.
Yeah. Now Parque Central,
Yeah.
that humidor is all over the place.
Yeah.
It is.
Even the Partagas shop. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just
Mhm.
open air. It's
That too.
it's ambient, whatever the ambient humidity is. That's what those cigars are
Yeah.
experiencing at any given time. So anything I've ever purchased there, I've stored away and smoked later. I haven't smoked anything that I purchased right away.
This is delicious, guys.
Wow. This is surprising.
I dig it.
This is really good. So the reason why I opened this episode saying it's a Robusto / a short pyramid is Cuban Cigar website lists this as a Robusto. But when I look at it, to me, it's like a
Short pyramid.
It's a shorter pyramid,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't flare at the bottom like a Bellicoso, so it's not a Bellicoso.
Mhm.
It has a pointed tip like a pyramid, but I feel like this is a short pyramid.
Yeah.
Very similar in shape to the Monte Cristo Petite number 2, although the ring gauge is bigger.
Is there? I'm getting a bit of like a crispness to this. It's very crisp. I can't put my finger on it.
I will say the flavor profile on this is unlike other Hoyos I've had. Just initially, right? We're only, an eighth of an inch in here. It's not like other Hoyos. It doesn't taste like those other cigars that we've smoked on the pod and the other things that we've done from Cuba. Like, I can't even compare this to another Cuban cigar right now. This is very unique.
It's different.
Sorry, I'm just laughing as Grinder's like a mime, like showing tens right now with his hands.
Oh, this is definitely down his power alley for sure.
This is wonderful. Oh,
You're
kind of-
almost giddy.
I'm kind of
Like a little schoolgirl going to school with her lunchbox.
So like I said, these were released in September of 2023. They were announced in 2022. They come in 3 different packaging options, which is nice to see because we've talked about how a lot of new releases, especially high dollar ones, this one is a more reasonable regular production entry from Cuba. They've not been coming in a lot of varieties as far as packaging goes. This one comes in 3 varieties, a slide lid box of 10 cigars, which I love. Comes in a display box of 15 aluminum tube cigars, so tubos, 5 cardboard packs of 3, and it also comes in a slide lid box of 25 cigars, which is nice. So you have quite a bit of option as far as when you're purchasing these cigars. And of course, a lot of retailers are going to sell those packs of 3, so you can buy a pack of 3 and try them before you commit to a bigger buy.
That's great. I think we all love tubos.
Oh, tubos are great, aren't they?
They're just exquisite when they come out of the tube.
And of course, like all Hoyos, we have to note the band on this. The second band is special to this one, has its own Epicure number 3 band. And then the primary band is the traditional Hoyo de Monterrey that we see on most of the line. I think except for the double Corona has its own more simple
It does.
vintage band on it.
And it's more ornate in design.
Yeah.
I actually like the band.
Yeah, the bands look nice. They're classy.
Very traditional. Yeah.
This is off to a very surprising start. That prayer worked, boys.
It worked. That's because we prayed to the correct gods.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
Oh, I want to buy some of these.
I was just thinking, which presentation
Where-
of those 3 different options should I buy it in?
I want to try the tubos. No doubt about it.
Tubos are so fun.
They're
I
awesome.
love tubos.
Like it comes in a portable like humidor, essentially.
Mhm.
It's not a humidor really, but protects it well. I'm a mess generally as a person. So I just
Are we in therapy now?
so we could all use some therapy.
Dr. Gizmo, what do you think here?
But
Tell us
your
about-
life is a mess.
Tell us about your childhood, Grinder.
well, I started smoking cigars
At 7.
7. Yeah, it went downhill after that. The flexibility of a tubo is really wonderful. It protects it more. You can move around with it. Throw it in your. Let's say you can throw it in your jacket pocket, as Puba would say.
Yeah. But putting aside the
For a wedding.
flexibility of carrying it around, I mean, every tubo that I've ever had, the cigar has been absolutely pristine. And that's what I look forward to when I have a tubo. They're
No.
perfect.
I kind of really agree because I remember going to a friend's wedding and I ended up buying some tubos from an airport once, London Heathrow, and
That's Senator's favorite airport.
Boo.
it is. It's got to be.
But
British Airways.
there's something cool.
There's something.
Oh,
like
I'm
the-
sure in Heathrow that pagoda got patted down.
with his eyes bright wide, like a deer,
I did.
deer in headlights.
I used to go to London so often. I used to be patted down every time. I used to be the only guy in business class sometimes, and they would still pull me out. Oops, please.
This is
Randomly selected.
This is interesting. This is interesting. I'm not traveling with you.
Hey, that's all right. That's all right. I'm used to that kind of stuff. But
I love you.
These are the early 2000s.
yeah,
Oh,
early
It's-
2000,
It's
2003,
probably Heathrow
4.
still today.
Yeah, is it? Oh wow, I haven't been to London for a long time now, but yeah, but the tubos are fantastic. I
Yeah.
think they're worth a couple of extra dollars per stick. I think, right? Um,
It's
the,
elegant. Handing someone a tubo
yeah,
at an event or even just here in a club, there's an elegant thing to
yeah.
do.
I think with this cigar too, the size just being a touch under 5 inches long, it's like it's perfect for something to pull out quick. You want to have an hour long smoke, hour 15 at a wedding, whatever it may be. Like,
Wow.
I think this would be a lot of fun coming out of a tubo.
This ring gauge, I think it would take me more than an hour to get through this.
You think so?
I will take my time with this guy.
So you say?
I'll also say this has got to be one of the larger ring gauge Hoyo cigars. Period.
That's true.
And
some
for
of the some of the San Juan cigars that are in the
oh,
mid-50s.
that's right. That
Mm.
Rio Seco.
The
is
Rio
huge.
Seco, the San
Yeah.
Juan, yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
But at least for the Epicure line, this is definitely the largest ring
Yeah.
gauge. I don't know why, but I just feel like it really benefits from it.
And I love the mouthfeel, of course. I get a lot of flack on the podcast here for enjoying a smaller mouthfeel
No, you don't.
on a cigar.
No,
but
I think
I like
there's-
the 54 tapering down to
Absolutely.
something in the 40s. You
You
know?
don't
What's
say.
cool is like you're only cutting you should only be cutting about an eighth of an inch off that pyramid. It concentrates if you have an Hoyo and you're lucky enough to have a good draw, it concentrates that flavor to that peak. It's a great experience.
So this is the 5th oil we've done on the pod. Like I said, we did the other 2 Epicures, Epicure number 1 and Epicure number 2. We did not do the Especial yet. We did the Elegantes LTDH, and we did the double Coronas. We'll get to all their ratings a little later in the program.
It's really interesting, the power of suggestion, that now that you've suggested yogurt, all that's in my mind is like big Indian yogurt, like
High-fat yogurt.
It's like
Oh, dude, there's nothing better than Cigar with like real raw honey.
We're back to skirt.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't even know
what
what
is
that is.
Cigar?
It's like a better form of yogurt.
Oh, is that
It's
what it
an
is?
Icelandic yogurt.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
really?
Yeah.
Do you have it with like a pig's stomach on the
I
side?
don't know, dude. What are you
Oh,
talking
okay.
about?
What's that called? What's
You're
that
off
dish
the
called?
reservation.
What is
You're
that
off. Get back on the reservation.
There's a dish called where they're stuffing like things into like an animal's stomach and then they're baking it.
That's
You're talking about
haggis.
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 You're not
Haggis is
even
Scottish.
You're
That's
not
got
even
nothing
on the
to do
same
with yogurt.
continent.
All right.
This is a different island.
All right.
And that's got nothing to do with yogurt.
That's true. All right.
So, boys, it's time to do the Lizard of the Week. This week's winner is Lizard Sean, longtime listener of the podcast, big supporter. He sent in a voice memo he wanted to share with us. So I'll play that now, and congratulations to him. He's going to win some stuff from us. We're going to send him a nice little care package
Cool.
as we do each week. So here's a voice memo
cover your ears, Bam.
from Lizard Sean.
Guys, I'll see you tomorrow.
Hey, Giz and the Lizards. Think I just found your guys' boy band name. Anyway, love the pod, been listening a long time, and got a question. I remember you guys did a couple of episodes featuring non-alcoholic beers. It's where I first got exposed to Guinness Zero and loved it ever since. I know that many cigar smokers are also in recovery and would love to hear some more pairings of things that are non-alcoholic. So any thoughts or consideration on doing some more episodes featuring non-alcoholic pairings? Side note, I want to thank all of you guys. Because of you, I'm going on my first trip to Cuba on January 31st.
Wow.
So big shout out to all you guys. Much appreciate everything that you do. Keep up the great work and look forward to more episodes.
Can I just say, Lizard Sean could have said nothing other than I'm going on my first trip to
That's-
Cuba in January, and he
Exactly.
would have won Lizard of the Week.
Lizard of the
Correct.
Week.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Is Lizard Sean from the Philadelphia area?
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Did you know that based on the accent?
Totally.
So, yeah, congratulations to Lizard Sean. Thanks for sending in a great voice memo, of course. And let's start like you said, Senator, going to Cuba
Oh,
for the first time. That is just
There's nothing like getting on that island for the first time. It's just what an experience.
yeah, it's
gonna
really
have.
really something. And to take it all in and to to sense how different
Yeah.
the world can be.
I'm recollecting now to my first trip as we're talking about this. It was quite the experience.
It's incredibly eye-opening.
Yeah.
It's a
Little shocking.
It's shocking. It's tragic in a way
Yep.
with what goes on there.
But also
It's-
beautiful.
It's beautiful at the
and
same
very
time.
meaningful.
Yes, and the people are amazing, and what they're living it in and through and with is just it's just such a difference versus what we experience
And
here.
when you interact with the people, their resiliency and everything that they're going through on a daily basis, it's really something else.
We also remember your first trip to Cuba.
And
Some anecdotes.
all right.
The speed walking.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
dude.
All right. So what?
All right. I'll leave it
let's tell
there.
this story. So
I was in
Pago-
an amazing race that entire fucking trip.
So Pagoda's referencing Bam Bam and I. We were the first two lizards to go to Cuba. We went with our
Correct.
friend Lizard Phil
Lizard, yeah, that's right.
and Lizard Bruce.
Right.
And Lizard Phil was our champion, our
And we
tour
had,
guide.
we had no idea that he was a sprinter.
He's a speed walker. This guy. He was giving us a tour from about a half a mile ahead of us.
My shoes were getting dirty.
Yeah, and wet.
Correct.
Your shoes got wet in the
Absolutely.
rain. Bam Bam doesn't like wet shoes.
No, I don't.
Bam, paint a picture for us. What exactly were you wearing that day?
I was wearing, what was I wearing? I was wearing a t-shirt and shorts and my hat. It was raining a little bit.
I mean, what color? This is not the usual
The-
Bam Bam specificity.
So the shoes they were tennis shoes. They were gray and they were meshed. And of course I didn't have socks on. So it was very fucking uncomfortable. And Lizard Bruce and Lizard Phil, they were like at least 30 yards ahead of us on a consistent basis.
Giving us the tour, by the way.
Correct.
And we heard nothing they were saying.
Not at all.
I could just very well imagine you guys both.
Oh yeah, we were chasing.
I mean,
Curry up.
Bam struggled to keep up at PCA. I could only imagine this in Cuba.
It was awful. I like
Bam's
to move.
like, I'm sitting down. I'll see you guys later.
That's exactly what I did. I let you guys handle it. I like a measured pace to experience every step.
and that you did.
One step at a time. That's what-
Correct.
But back to the point here.
Yeah.
Your first trip to Cuba is really something.
Yeah.
It's and every time you go, you learn a little more. You come a little bit more seasoned. You know what you're going to expect, and then there's still so many surprises, and
Yeah.
just the craziness that is that island.
I think we
You
would
know.
love to hear a follow up from Lizard Sean. on
Yeah,
his first
after he
trip.
goes, I'd
That'd
love
be
to
amazing.
hear it. He's going in January.
Bring a suitcase with lots to give out to the people there. They
Absolutely.
need the help.
Absolutely.
I think to his question, I mean, it's an excellent question. I think some of the non-alcoholic beers are delicious.
Oh yeah,
Some of the athletic, what's it called?
Athletic.
athletic
Yeah,
brewery.
athletic.
Yeah.
Athletic brewing
Delicious.
is amazing. I'll be honest. Have you ever had black tea with like some milk with
Yes.
a cigar?
Yes.
You're talking Pagoda's language.
of course.
Absolutely. I grew up
I
on
didn't-
Every
on
day.
black tea with milk.
I think that is
a
a
little bit of honey.
cigar pairing.
It
agree.
is. It really
Um,
is.
Especially with Cuban cigars.
Yeah, that's right.
Obviously coffee, but tea has the flavor is subtle, but I think it brings out a lot of good flavors in Cuban cigars.
Absolutely agree.
Leather Sean, I really apologize, but the one thing in Cuba, the beer Cristal is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
If you can find a non-alcoholic version there,
Unlikely.
unlikely.
Yeah, good luck.
But the beer is really good. The Cristal is very nice.
Yeah.
I think to Grinder's point, I think coffee is probably the most obvious omission
Yeah.
on the
Mm.
podcast as far as non-alcoholic pairings, because each of us
Yeah.
pair cigars with coffee all the time.
All the time.
yeah.
And that's something we just haven't done on the pod from
That's
a
right.
pairing standpoint.
It's
Yeah.
one of those things that it's so obvious it becomes as an afterthought, you know?
Yeah.
And also, most of us are drinking coffee every morning and having cigar anyway, to some degree.
Yeah.
So, this is like a separate kind of
We have,
experience.
we have a great little espresso maker here in the club, decaf, regular, and I think an espresso brings out the richness in the cigar, depending on the cigar that you're having. I think there's a lot of merit there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, I think flavored seltzer is a good combo.
I disagree 100%.
Oh boy.
I
Completely.
love
we
I
go.
love seltzer with lemon.
Here we
With the
go.
cigar,
I love seltzer with fresh lemon is the best for a cigar.
from a point of view of cleansing, yes.
Yeah.
In between like 7 or 8 draws, you take a swig of seltzer. I'm with that.
No, but Bam, that's how he gets the citrus flavor.
yeah,
you know?
I'm okay.
I'm trying to be like you.
Yeah, all right.
Trying to get
but I
citrus.
can't
He's just-
pair a seltzer with a cigar for the entire sit. That's not happening.
Yeah,
I agree.
it might be
Right?
a stretch. It might be a stretch. Okay.
But there are a lot of non-alcoholic beers, and I find, I mean, we've talked about this on the episodes when we reviewed non-alcoholic
we've
pairings.
reviewed. Yeah, take a look, Sean.
Yeah.
We've
He,
done.
he wants more.
I'll say this. I mean, I've for a while, a period at least, went down the rabbit hole of non-alcoholic beer. I think Athletic Brewing does it better than anybody, bar none. That Wave Runner IPA
The IPA is
probably
excellent.
the best one they make.
Delicious.
There's another IPA, like the Hazy IPA,
Hazy
I think it's
IPA.
called. That's
Mhm.
like a
Another good one.
orange or red color. That's also very good. For a lighter beer on like a hot summer day, there's a yellow one. Forgetting what it's called.
Honestly, the non-alcoholic Beck's on a very
Beck's,
hot
I was
day,
gonna say that.
that's actually quite
Beck's
nice.
is good.
Beck's, that non-alcoholic Beck's actually tastes like a regular Beck's.
But on a hot day, like Senator's referring to, I think that's a great experience.
When I drove back from Florida, I don't know if I told you guys this, when I was smoking cigars because I drove straight shot coming back from Florida, 17 and a half hours.
Did you have a salad?
By
in the
myself. I did not. I actually did. I have a salad? I might
You
have.
may have had a
I might have
salad.
actually.
Did I have a salad?
But I had a bunch of cigars, and
Just
I
check
was,
your seats. It's probably still there.
Any croutons in the cushions?
I was drinking Stella, the non-alcoholic Stella, on the way home. I had 2 or 3 of those with the cigars.
Yeah.
With my cigars as I was driving, and it tastes just as close to regular Stella as
Similar.
you can get.
Not like regular Stella, but it is close
For
enough.
me, in that moment,
For
driving home, it was as close as I could
Yeah,
get. It
but
was
you
really,
can't
really
argue
good.
how delicious the non-alcoholic Guinness is.
Yeah,
That
non-alcoholic
is-
Guinness,
it's
like,
excellent.
to Sean's
Exquisite.
point.
So
Yeah.
good.
Exquisite.
The only
really good.
non-alcoholic beer that I really hated was the non-alcoholic Peroni.
Oh yes,
Mm.
yes.
It doesn't taste anything.
There's
like
no
Peroni.
flavor.
No, that was not good. Another really random one, Rooster, who is easily the connoisseur of non-alcoholic beer, Galicia. This like Spanish beer, very delicious.
Really?
That's another good one. But the good thing is there's a lot of options now. I mean, years ago there were like
More and more.
O'Doul's was really all you could find,
Yeah.
and now there's so much.
Cool.
But leaving that aside, even Coke tastes so good. Like, if you have regular Coke
Yeah.
with a cigar, it provides a sweetness, and it's.
It's like a Cuba
I
Libre
really like
without
it.
the
yeah.
rum.
Yeah.
Correct. With
Actually,
on the
yeah.
ice with a slice
Yeah.
of lemon.
A
It's
lot
great.
of listeners love soft drinks like Dr. Pepper or a cherry
Sure.
Coke or something. A lot
Sure.
of folks love root beer.
I haven't had Dr. Pepper in so long.
Well,
And
people
it's-
love pairing those with cigars.
that would
Wow.
work well.
Yeah.
The cherry. Yeah, that's a good idea.
And especially if you have any sort of nicotine sensitivity, that the sugar in those drinks helps with that.
I don't think any of us have a
I know. I'm not talking
Oh,
about
well,
us.
but when you light the wrong cigar, I mean, were you there the Puba night with the Padron 1926? Were you
With
there?
the 90s?
This was at our old lounge. Oh yeah.
I was there.
Puba, we had to use a monthly allocation at our old lounge, and I remember Puba bought some Padron 1926 series cigars. Those are strong cigars.
Mhm.
I honestly, some of them are too strong for me to enjoy. And I remember Puba sitting there lighting this 1926 cigar, and maybe a third of the way through, I mean, he's like sweating. He's like, "This is kicking
His eyes
my
were red.
ass." He was so frustrated, and he's like, "The only thing that's going to help me right now, I need to find a Coke."
Yeah.
And he literally like chugged a Coke, and he like finally like regulated his blood sugar and everything,
Yeah.
and felt back to normal. But when you have a really strong cigar that's got too much nicotine,
The sweetness
That'll
helps
help.
cut through that. Yeah.
It helps quite a bit.
Yeah.
So I think we've kind of laid out some of the things we like, but I'm going to talk to Rooster. Obviously, as the connoisseur in the room of non-alcoholic pairings and coffee. He's a big coffee guy.
Yeah.
Loves different blends and beans and stuff. So we will do more non-alcoholic pairings. We're definitely going to have to look to that.
I would love to try the Galicia.
Oh, I'm sorry. How can we forget this? We've mentioned many times a Bloody Mary, but there are times that I've made a non-alcoholic Bloody Mary. You're just not putting vodka in it, and it's delicious.
It is delicious.
In the morning,
Yeah.
with the morning smoke. Another great pairing.
Absolutely.
So what do you substitute in the bloody for the vodka? What do you put instead?
No, I basically just, in place of like a shot of vodka, I just put like a shot of water, just so that the tomato juice isn't like too
It's
intense or
cut
too
a bit.
thick, and it's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of good non-alcoholic beers. Wish there were. Is there wine's not? Do they have non-alcoholic? That's not a thing, is it?
I mean, there definitely are ones, but not
Probably
that
not
I would
good.
recommend. The other thing, actually, I'll say, you just sparked a good thought grinder. There are non-alcoholic spirits.
That's right. Your wife enjoyed some of those, right?
Yeah. So, like when my wife was pregnant, this was a big thing, and Ritual is the company that is kind of the leader in making these. And I know they have a Ritual tequila that I've had along with my wife. that if you were to make a margarita and just put that in, it has similar notes that you would get out
Wow.
of tequila with no alcohol.
Cool.
So some of the ritual spirits are also a good option.
I think this is something, to Lizard Sean's point, we had some folks write us about doing more wine. We're going to add more wine into the rotation. I think adding more non-alcoholic beverages.
Yeah.
I think coffee's the biggest omission so far. I think we need to look at,
Tough to do that here in this environment right now, right? How do we get coffee in the room?
From Starbucks.
I guess. We can, you know what we could do? We can bring Rooster's Jura here.
That's what we're gonna do.
I think
That's
that's
what we're
been the
gonna
big
do.
fear. We're going to have a 24-hour seminar on coffee with Rooster,
Correct.
and it can only come out of a Jura.
All right, boys, we're coming to the end of the first third here on the Hoyo de Monterrey Epicure number 3. What do you guys think so far?
I love it.
Yeah?
I love it.
I'm having a hard time not smoking through this thing.
This thing is almost done.
This
This
is
is like
really, it's really, really good.
this is like when you get like really good sourdough bread, it just comes out of the oven
Yeah.
and you open it up
Yeah.
and you take and you just smell it and it's just like that's what I'm smoking.
I agree.
I'm
I
smoking
I
the
totally
vapor
agree.
coming off this warm sourdough loaf, and it's fucking sublime.
It's delicious.
I don't
think
think
that
I've
makes
ever
sense.
seen Grinder this happy.
This is
great.
wonderful.
This
It's
is great.
This is
excellent.
great.
Excellent cigar.
Senator, what do you think? How does this stand to the first one you had?
This is as good, if not a bit better.
Really?
I mean, I had that. That was probably super fresh. At least I'm sure this is sat somewhat.
How long have you had these in your tower?
Probably about 90 days.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I've had these for a little. The reason why I put these aside is knowing that they were so fresh and an Hoyo, and we had just done the double
Yeah.
Corona. When Senator said to grab them, I grabbed them and I've just sat on them for a while. But I felt after about 2-3 months they were ready.
I think the thing I'm just most encouraged. I mean, I just picked up a single one and smoked it, and obviously I had a great experience there. My fear, knowing the Hoyo marca, was that with a bunch of us doing this, is it going to consistently perform? And the fact that everybody seems to be enjoying this cigar, this could be that one line within Hoyo that maybe there's some consistency behind that we can trust.
Yeah. The aroma on the foot's pleasant.
It is.
It's very easy to smoke. I think there's a lot of sourdough notes in here that I think Grinder mentioned that I think are very accurate. A touch of graham cracker. I had honey earlier, but that's dissipated. But this is very good.
Two things I would add. One, we haven't mentioned, the construction on this cigar is excellent.
Flawless.
It
If you
is.
look at everyone's cigar, I mean, it's just like an inch or two of ash,
It's awesome.
burning perfectly. The draw's excellent. No issues there.
I think everyone here is loving their cigar and having a hard time smoking it slow
Yeah.
because
For
it's so
sure.
good.
And then the only other thing I would add is I get all those sourdough notes that Grinder was talking about on the front, but the finish is sweet. And I like that like balance between like sourdough and then like a sweet kind of
Yeah.
honey-like finish. For me, it works really well.
Yeah,
Like a creamy sweetness.
Yeah,
Very creamy. Sorry, I
absolutely.
should have mentioned that.
Yeah.
Extremely creamy.
as you keep that smoke in your
Yeah,
mouth just
yeah.
a little longer than normal, you
Yeah.
capture that on your tongue. It's very good.
And the combustion also on this cigar is great.
This is fucking awesome.
Now, I haven't.
Oh my lord. Grinder is giddy.
He
Giddy is
is.
Grinder.
I haven't,
Get a
s-
grinder.
I haven't seen these come up anywhere.
I've seen them here or there. I know they've been on FOH for sure.
Really?
I think I
Yeah.
saw them on I Habanos.
Really?
Yes.
Dude, I'm pursuing.
I think they were right up, right down.
I want several boxes.
but
of
I've
these.
definitely seen these go up for sure.
And I also disagree that this is a dramatic departure from Hoyo. I think like some of the best Epi 2s I've
When
ever
it-
had.
If you get a good one,
yeah.
I can't tell you the last time that happened.
I don't want to steal your thunder, but I'm 100% in his corner.
If you
there.
get a
This
good
is
one-
very much
yeah.
like I think this is the best, to use your word, expression of
Mhm.
Hoyo.
yeah.
But it's like it's got the Hoyo DNA. I don't think it's divergent from Hoyo at all.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it's within the mark.
yeah,
that makes
for
sense.
sure.
Yeah,
I agree. And the thing that I just appreciate about this is, you like this cigar, and I think on the light, you're like, oh, this is mild, maybe mild medium. It doesn't start like firmly medium. But what I really appreciate what they've done, there's so much flavor despite this being milder in body
correct.
that it holds up really well.
Correct.
And I think some cigars we have, whether it's Cuban or New World, when they start with that milder profile, there's not enough flavor to kind of keep your interest. And you're sitting there saying this is too mild for most of, if not all of our palates. But this doesn't do that. And I think that they deserve a lot of credit for how they blended this cigar. It's got so much flavor despite that like easygoing delivery.
What you're describing a quintessential Cuban at its highest peak performance. That's what I'm hearing here.
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's shocking to me that this cigar was not even released a year ago.
Yeah.
These are probably, 7-8 months old.
This
at
is a
point.
sleeper.
It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
And again, we've talked about this with fresh releases from Habanos and regular production. You think about the Rafael Gonzalez, Coronas de Lonsdale. You think about the La Gloria Cubana, Turquinos.
Yeah.
How well those performed.
That
young.
was delicious.
I mean, it's almost like Habanos is purposefully blending and designing these cigars to be smoked well young.
Mhm.
And then you compare it to the rest of the catalog in some of these cigars. And the rest of the catalog at the same age doesn't smoke anywhere close.
That's right.
So it's like, I don't know. This is really well blended, and it's smoking brilliantly right now.
Yeah. Great performance.
So when was the first release? Like 21 or 22?
This came
No,
out less than
last
a year
year.
ago.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
wow.
Late last year. And I hope it's a realization on Habanos' part that at these price points now, people can't wait for them to be ready to smoke.
Well,
Yeah.
If you're going to pay a premium, they need to be ready to smoke.
yeah.
And at least as Gizmos point out, like these recent releases, that's how we have felt. And so I just hope that trend continues because no one should be spending $30 on a cigar if they can't smoke it, enjoy it right now.
Absolutely.
And they've got to sit and let it age for a few years. That's just silly.
Yeah. That could segue into a whole conversation.
And we'll get there.
Yeah.
But first, boys, let's talk about our pairing tonight. It's our first tonight, a rosé,
Yeah.
a different type of wine. I know nothing about rosé. All I know is the tagline that I've seen on some shirts, rosé all day, or all day rosé. That's all I know. I've never had a rosé. I've never tried it. I know it's a big thing out in the Hamptons.
I can't wait for us to get
the
Gizmo a
Hamptons.
t-shirt.
This is what Senator drinks when he's out in the Hamptons, schmoozing with his t-shirts on,
Schmoozing. Correct.
For the
his
record,
boat shoes.
for the record,
Boat
I,
shoes.
I can't claim I can't claim credit for this. This was a Bam Bam suggestion,
Oh,
and I think it was a perfect one.
And
Honestly-
we continue on our track of praying to the gods and religion. This is the
Yeah.
Whispering Angel.
Cheers.
tonight.
Oh,
Cheers to you.
Cheers,
Cheers.
boys.
Cheers.
Cheers to the success of the pairing tonight.
I am.
I think Grinder needs a refill.
Yeah, I've imbibed a little.
We've
too
just
much.
started, by the way.
No wonder he's so giddy.
Correct.
I'll be honest, I've never had rosé before that first sip I just took. Very nice pairing with this cigar.
I think it works. I think it does work.
It doesn't just work. I, for some reason, would have never thought of pairing this.
Mm.
It is a perfect pairing. Absolute brilliance on Bam's part suggested.
Look, you mentioned the
Bam,
notes.
can we just sit on that for a second? He just called you brilliant.
Oh. I need a religious.
Everybody get your boat shoes.
Duly noted. Check. But all the notes that he mentioned, look, he's the only one that's had this cigar. He's mentioned the notes several times. It kind of made sense to have a very light. We wanted to do a wine, but this kind of fit in. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, the funny thing with a rosé, like this cigar is mild, but has so much flavor that it smokes above the body that it brings. And a rosé is a lighter wine, but because it's not a white wine, it's a rosé, it has it has some extra flavor to it
yeah,
that doesn't make it too mild that it just kind of falls to the background and
That's right.
it's not standing up against the cigar. And so I really think like a rosé and this rosé with this cigar just works really well.
it works great. And honestly, I thought of it because when I'm out with Mrs. Bam Bam and I'm having a cigar and she's not having a cigar and we're going to share a spirit, we'll get a bottle of this or two or three. The consumption rate on this cigar is
I like the way 2 or
Well,
3.
I mean,
So obviously she just had the glass.
maybe, probably 2 or
Maybe
3
two.
at the best.
Rosé all day, Bam.
But this goes down beautifully. The spirit, right? This rosé, I should say, and because you can consume, I love the consumption of this rosé because I can take copious volumes of it. It doesn't affect me. It's delicious, and it's reminiscent of this cigar I can smoke 2 or 3 of these. They're so
Yep.
good in one sit, and it's just enjoyable.
Agreed.
So there's an enjoyment factor because you can take volumes of it.
So what makes rosé different or special? Is it a type of grape? What is it about rosé that has really captured? I don't know about outside the United States, but certainly in the U.S.
I know nothing
Yeah.
about it. I just like to drink it.
Yeah. So rosé is no different than any other wine in the sense that it's the same grapes. A lot of rosés end up being made from Pinot Noir grapes, but there's a whole variety of them. And the difference is just that, with a white wine, the skin of those grapes is completely removed, which is what has the color.
The tannin. Yeah.
And so, why that wine looks white is because all you're getting is the flesh inside of the grape. You're not getting any of the skin that has the color that would impart that red hue that you get in red wine. With a rosé, they leave some of the skin on, which gives it that rosé color, but not a lot of it where it's not the intensity that you would get from, a red wine. And, for whatever reason, years ago, just rosé was never prioritized as a serious wine. And so the few that made it, they were sweet and shitty. And
Yeah.
over time, that has dramatically changed. I mean, so much so, I couldn't believe when I was in Italy recently, any Italian rosé that I've ever tried in the past has been insanely sweet and even some of them syrupy. I mean,
Oof.
just awful. I would never seek out an Italian rosé. And you look at Italian rosé now, and France is really what put rosé on the map. I mean, this is a French rosé, and that's where this exploded. But now,
from where in France?
Provence.
Provence.
What is that?
Well, let Pagoda say it. Provence.
Provence.
That was
I
great.
knew he would do it well.
Oh man. And fuck, where was I? What were we talking about? Oh, so I was saying, so France put rosé on the map, but now even recently being in Italy, it's like all the winemakers in Italy understand how big rosé has become, and so there's such a focus now on it. I couldn't believe I was drinking some Italian rosés that, no joke, first of all, taste almost identical to French rosé, which I was shocked.
Wow.
And some of them as good, if not better, than some of the best French rosés I've ever had. So this is like a true global phenomenon in that every vineyard is prioritizing rosé as seriously as they do red or white wine, whichever
Wow.
they're more known for. And I think to Bam's point, rosé is just like the quintessential summer
Mhm.
wine.
Right.
Yeah.
And on a hot day, to have something that is cold and refreshing, but also easy drinking, yet complex and flavorful enough that it can hold up with a meal, it can hold up with a cigar. There's just so much utility for it. And the funny thing is, the rosé that we're drinking is Whispering Angel.
Pagoda. That's our Whispering Angel.
Correct.
Say
That
it
is
again, Pagoda.
Whispering Angel.
From where?
Provence.
Oh Lord.
But the irony is, this is the best-selling rosé in the world, period.
Oh, it is. I
It's
didn't know
not
that.
even close.
Really.
Oh,
Not
really?
even close. Oh,
Wow.
I
So
thought
what do you
Bon,
think
I
about
thought Bon
sparkling?
Jovi's was.
Let me tell you this.
Jovi.
You're gonna go home to your wife and you're gonna say, I had Whispering Angel, and she's gonna say, thumbs up,
Oh yeah.
buy a case.
Yes.
All right.
yeah. Yeah. In 2017, they produced more than 6 million bottles of this.
Wow.
And I'm sure now it's even higher than that.
Wow.
So the volume is insane. And the thing that's funny about this wine is when Whispering Angel came out, there was this huge craze and it became really popular. And people said, this is great rosé. And at this point, it's become so ubiquitous that it gets frowned upon almost. It's like, oh, well, that's what, unserious wine people drink.
Mm-hmm.
The harsh reality of this
Not
is,
here. Not us.
That's
Yeah.
right.
We're
You know,
serious
honestly,
wine people here.
The
Look,
reality of it,
go ahead.
I've had 1,001 rosés. Like, it's actually a good rosé.
Yeah.
And so anyone who wants to just like immediately turn their nose at it, I think you're being a little bit of a snob to do that. And I just say that because is it the most complex rosé? Absolutely not. But is it a very good rosé for what it is and for its price point?
Yeah.
There's no question. And even critics, even guys that I don't appreciate or respect very much as wine critics, like our friend James Suckling. Even he has done reviews on this and said it's an outstanding rosé. And
Yeah.
so there's credit that's deserved, because this is what really exploded the entire category.
Very true.
And I'm shocked that all these years later, I mean, we're drinking this. I haven't seen anybody suggest that they're not enjoying it. It still holds up, and they haven't sacrificed quality, which
No, they
is what
haven't.
usually happens, right?
The consistency has been the same for years and years.
How much does it cost?
$20.
Yeah.
That's a $20 bottle of wine.
Within my
yeah.
budget.
Yeah,
This is great.
I paid earlier like $21 and change.
So I was anticipating, based on, I mean, obviously seeing rosé just kind of in culture, right? Never having it. I expected it to be like a wine spritzer, like sweet, not great. And I'm very much appreciating its dryness.
yeah, the
Yes.
dryness
It's-
brings complexity.
It has a complexity to
Yeah,
it.
a
For a
little bit.
$20 bottle, it's
Right.
really good.
The dryness you talk about, that's what's characteristic of French rosé. So the problem is, most Americans for so long were used to American rosés that came out of Napa or Sonoma, and they're very sweet. That's exactly how you end up with a hangover. They're just not something that you can drink in volume like Bam's talking about. In France, their entire style of winemaking is on the drier side, from Bordeaux's and red wine to Sancerres and white wine to rosés in between. They're all a drier style, and you don't get like all this crazy residual sugar, and these things are just not going to make you feel great. And they lend itself to, I mean, this goes down like water.
It does. And it's very enjoyable. As I was walking back with the bottle in my hand, I'm thinking to myself, the grizzled veteran cigar smoker is going to scoff at this, but I think you've got to give it a shot if you're having a Cuban cigar like we're having tonight.
Yeah,
I think-
mild. It's a mild affair.
Yeah.
You
Very
did,
appropriate.
you
Yeah.
did look pretty with the bottle.
I
must
do.
say.
Thank you. I agree with you if I do say so myself.
So what about, I love sparkling rosés.
Hmm.
That's another one.
Yeah. And if they're dry and if they're good on a hot summer day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm really impressed with the spirit.
It's a nice pairing tonight.
And even more so, boys, we're just beyond the halfway point here on the Hoyo de Monterrey Epicure number 3 from Cuba. I can't get enough of this cigar right now. I'm shocked at how good this
It's
is.
so good.
It's crazy.
It's so fucking good.
I can't believe how much we paid for the Hoyo Double Corona and some of those other cigars
Dude.
from them. How good this is.
And it's starting to concentrate as you get down, so that a lot of the little pungent notes that I was getting earlier are more pronounced. And there's still, for me, a little bit of graham cracker. Dare I say, very faint baking spice in the finish for me. It's all there for me.
Yeah, it's getting sweeter for me. I think
Exactly.
I don't know whether it's
I don't think the wine has anything to do. I think that complements the cigar.
it's excellent.
Yeah.
I feel like the wine is bringing the best out of the cigar and vice versa. Like
Agreed.
it's really working on the palate.
Yeah.
They're very complimentary.
It's very enjoyable.
I have to say, one funny tasting note that is mentioned on the wine is yogurt.
Oh,
Dude.
high fat or low fat?
It must be.
Can we
It
get a
doesn't specify.
clarification?
What's it called? Scott? What's it called?
Scrum?
Skur.
Skur.
We're not implementing software here.
This is
Correct.
highly pasteurized or non-pasteurized. No, I'm just kidding.
Actually, I could use a refill.
I think it's-
oh, the bottle's gone.
Fresh. It's got to be fresh.
We killed the entire
Uh,
bottle.
Literally goes down like water.
No good.
So, boys, let's talk about some Cuban cigars. Some interesting news here. We've talked at length about the price increases that we've experienced across the entire Habanos SA catalog. Well noted on this podcast and elsewhere. I mean, it's been crazy. Every consumer's experienced it, especially with the high-end stuff, namely Cohiba and others. And most recently, Trinidad experienced this as they did a relaunch at the Habanos World Days event in London earlier this summer. And what I found interesting, and I wanted to talk to you guys about this, is I've seen a couple gray market retailers offering Trinidad and Cohiba at like crazy prices.
I have discounting Trinidad.
Yeah, they were offering
And
$3
Cohiba.
and
I didn't see
Cohiba.
that.
Oh
Is
yeah,
that
wait
right?
till you hear this. $3 deals on Trinidad Vigias for $900 for 3 boxes, bringing those down to a more reasonable price of about $25 a cigar, about the same price as this.
The Vigia is a great cigar. I would pursue that deal.
That's a
great
small
deal.
cigar, but that's a
Still.
significant price cut.
Still, yeah.
And they're offering them in bulk, 3 box deals.
That's unheard of.
So then they're offering Cohiba Robustos, right? At $45 a cigar.
Wow.
Which is significantly less than what are we paying in Cuba for those? 80 or 90 bucks right now?
$75.
Yeah, so
I think at
that's
the
a
time.
significant discount down to $45 a cigar. So is the price correction happening?
Of course, yes.
Let's hope so.
This is economics, guys. It always comes back to the rule of nature. When we're not going to be buying these sticks, you got to do something with them, so they're going to lower the price.
Correct, because they can't get rid of them.
I'll be honest. I was not surprised to see Trinidad discounted. I
But
was
the
surprised
Coros,
to see Coros.
That's shocking.
I was surprised to see Coros discounted to that level.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we've known that Cohiba is catnip to the highest end consumers of Habanos cigars. To see Cohiba discounted and offered at volume is very surprising to me. And the Coro, which is one of their highest selling regular production cigars. Now, let's put aside the crazy stuff, the Bejiques, the limited releases, etc. If you think of their classic Linea line, their Sigil line, the Cohiba Robusto, maybe next to the Cohiba Sigil is 6, the Lancero, the Esplendido, that is one of the core cigars. To see that offered at that kind of discount,
Yep.
I was very surprised to see that.
Yeah, well.
I mean, the miscalculation is very simple. Sure, they discovered that there are countless really wealthy people who are going to spend silly amounts of money on Cohiba and Trinidad. But the problem is they still need to move volume. And so when you have 10x the consumers who are willing to buy Partagas and Hoyo and Monty and all these other brands at 20 to 30 bucks a stick, it doesn't matter how much money someone has that's willing to buy Cohiba. One person is only going to consume
That's
so
right.
many cigars.
Yeah.
And so there becomes a point where, sure, at first things are flying off the shelves, and then all those individuals, they're stocked. They don't need any more.
But not to mention the fact that ultra high net worth buyer that's educated, that understands the cigar markers in general, like you mentioned earlier, they're going to pursue other markers. They're going to gravitate away from Cohiba and Trinidad because it's just outrageously priced. It doesn't make sense.
And the new worlds are getting better.
Of course.
That's also true.
I think you have to understand how idiotic these people are, because you can't mess up pricing this bad when you've been in the same business for that long without being a dumbass. Let's be honest. How to miss on pricing that bad, you have to have no idea what's going on in the market. And that just shows you they probably have no idea what's going on.
What I'd like to see, so on the gray market, it's kind of understandable, but if they start to reduce prices at LCDH stores.
But here's what you have to think, about, Bam.
Yeah.
And I was going to go here as well.
Yeah.
The gray market vendors, the legitimate gray market vendors, you know where they're getting their cigars from?
LCDH.
LCDH.
Oh, so
They're getting them from legitimate vendors. Now, there's plenty of guys out there who are selling fake Cuban cigars that are getting backdoor shit cigars.
Sure.
Okay. But Habanos is not doing that. They're getting legitimate cigars from legitimate retailers who are not moving the volume.
What that's saying is there's a market correction that's taking place, and hopefully it becomes more realistic as we move forward.
But it's only happening right now in the secondary market. We're not seeing this on the primary market yet. And to Grinder's point, to see it happening at the secondary level, which is being shuffled out the back door to these gray market vendors, it's even worse. Because now you're not only hurting your primary vendors, but you're seeing the secondary market. You're completely recorrecting the perception of your customer by saying, well, if my LCDH is selling this cigar for 80 and Habanos has it for 45, what is wrong?
That's bad for LCDH, obviously.
Of course.
So, again, I'm going to say this. It's not like they're new to making cigars and selling cigars. How bad do you have to be at understanding your business to realize, to not realize that this is going to happen? I mean, any one of us, we're all in business. Any one of us is hyper focused on pricing.
Of course.
That's what we do. We're constantly fucking around with pricing, but not to the degree that 2x, 3x, some of these cigars came out. Those kind of jumps only happen when there's disruption. There was no disruption. It's the same thing that they've been making for hundreds of years.
The only
Correct.
disruption was caused by them.
Yeah, exactly.
In a lack of,
self-inflicted.
it's self-inflicted. It's a
Correct.
lack of investment. It's a lack of human resources. It's a lack of supporting their people, lack of supporting their crop.
But
It's all
he means
self-inflicted.
he means disruption, as in they are meaningfully changing or improving this product that would command
Exactly.
a huge
Yeah.
jump in price. And to Grinder's point, it's the same exact product. They've
Yep.
done nothing different.
So there
A
was no
Cohiba
disruption.
Robusto now is no different than a Cohiba Robusto
Yeah.
5 years ago.
Right.
So what justifies such an extreme price increase?
Nothing.
And that's the problem.
And this is
Nothing.
and savvy businessmen realize that you ultimately can't really con the customer. And when you're changing price like that, we call into question the integrity of the whole enterprise. Like, what are you doing here? So you're saying the price you gave me before was bogus? Do you actually know how to price this fucking thing? Like, that's what I'm thinking. And clearly they don't. And also the fact that they're cannibalizing their own brick and mortar is lunacy.
Yeah.
That's worse than anything they could do.
Absolutely.
That is the worst they could do. And the fact that they're trying to hide it by doing it, like, to your words, backdoor through their own channels, through the gray market. So now all those distributors that they've had these long-term relationships and the LCDH are hurting because of that. It's bizarre.
And, like we said, Habanos just spent a ton of money relaunching Trinidad as a premium brand alongside Cohiba just in June. It's August.
Out of necessity.
It's August, and they're discounting this crazy. And we're seeing stuff sit on the shelves. I mean, you can find anything you want from Trinidad,
Sure.
aside from Fundadores, because they've just not been making those, I guess. But you can find anything you want. So it's just lunacy. And what I've heard from a little birdie, I don't want to credit who this little birdie is, but now what we're hearing is that K. Dorsey may be the next brand for a relaunch.
But okay,
Outrageous.
So if that's the case, then I don't know. This might be the demise because they have evidential proof in the market that the strategy does not work. Like, clearly, it's not working. So why are they doubling down?
Are they looking to increase prices on QDs?
I've heard what I've read somewhere. I don't want to point it out, but what I've read is that Kai Dorsey is the next brand to be completely rebranded and repivoted as a higher priced, higher
First of all,
value brand.
I can see them trying to elevate the brand because it's a wonderful brand.
It really is.
It is a gem.
Yeah.
But to do it with the same playbook that they did Trini and Cohiba is again, what are you doing? You just saw that's not going to work,
Yeah.
right? I mean, the state of affairs in Cuba, all those examples you cited regarding the resources, the
People,
money,
crop,
people, all these things,
Infrastructure, water.
and like the fact that they're doubling down on these stupid strategies says to me, like, hey, what's going on with this industry? Like, are we going to have Cuban cigars in 5, 6, 7? Like, that's what I'm thinking.
Will we continue to buy them?
Well, the thing is, you look at Kai Dorsey, right, which has also experienced probably a 25 to 30 to 40% increase over the same period of time, which you can argue on some of those cigars maybe is fair, right? If you're buying a Coronas Claro, which is a cigar that we all love, no question about it. If you're buying that for $20-$25, I think anybody in this room would say that's still a fair price for that cigar.
We would still buy that cigar.
Now,
at
if that
price.
cigar jumps to $40 a cigar,
Not happening.
I think despite how good it is, all of us are going to say, well, we're going to look elsewhere for that type of flavor profile.
Correct.
We're going to look elsewhere for that type of cigar.
And that's what happened with consumers.
And that's what's
we
happening
moved
with
to
Trinidad.
New World.
Exactly.
And the consumer got smart and said, why are we doing this? We could find better, if not equal, cigars.
Steve Saka, I'm
equal,
coming
if
right
not-
for you, baby.
I mean, they're going to do it again.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just unbelievable that we're seeing this with Cohiba and Trinidad, and now
And potentially QD.
and potentially next year, Habanos World Days doing this with Kai Dorsey. which would not surprise me.
I will say one thing that, all the cigar shops that I frequent, and I know a bunch of people at these locations, both the seasoned cigar smoker and the novice cigar smoker, a lot of these guys are pursuing the QD, the Quai d'Orsay marca for various reasons. They read, they research, and they understand the consistency of that product. We all love that cigar. It would be a crime to see the price jumps that we've seen with Trinidad and Cohiba to also be applied to Quai d'Orsay.
It's
unbelievable.
It's so unreal to believe. Like,
and that whole consumer base will evaporate once those prices go up.
Totally.
I think the saddest thing is with QD, they already started doing that years ago.
They did.
That's true across all the markets.
QD, I think back to when I first started buying Cuban cigars, and even just fast forward 3 years later from that, 4 years maybe, the price on QD used to be commensurate with Partagas and Monty and all the other brands.
Right.
And then fast forward just a few years later, and during the pandemic, it was more than all of those marcas. And the problem I had with that is I actually don't think that QD is any more consistent than any of the other marcas.
Yeah, it's true.
And so again, if you're going to command a higher price, like the argument with Cohiba is, well, the construction's better, the consistency, all these things, and you're paying this premium, the cream of the crop. That's never been the case with QD's never been any different in construction than any other great Cuban marca.
Why?
Why
identify QD as the next elevated?
Let me
market?
tell you
It
something.
doesn't make sense,
This is a great segue. I've had the experience. I wouldn't say pleasure, but I've had the experience of seeing executive leadership in companies begin to make really bizarre decisions when they're under duress and they're not making money. And this is reminiscent of that. Across different industries, I've seen executives make really dumb decisions because they're under duress to make some kind of profit, and they're pulling all these silly games out of the bag. That's what it kind of looks like to me as an outsider.
Of course.
And I've seen it as a quote, somewhat, close to that. And this is what it's reminiscent to me.
It's what it looks like.
And that is not a good sign for Cuban cigars.
Well, I also look at is every Habanos World Days event moving forward going to be
an opportunity to increase the price on a marca?
Yeah, just choose a marca. Okay, so next year is it going to be Quai d'Orsay? Is the year after that going to be Punch? Is the year after that going to be Ramon Ionis?
Wait till my kid's old enough to smoke it. It's going to be Vigueros. It's going to be a premium brand. I mean, this is outrageous.
You're paying $50 for a Vigueros.
Outrageous.
I don't think so.
It's just lunacy.
Listen, relax, guys. I have an answer for everything.
What is it?
For everything.
So my
here comes ladies and gentlemen, our Whispering Angel.
As he's laying down on the couch.
Can you whisper this, by the way?
So my answer for the QD is Zeno's. Sitting on Rooster's chair.
Rooster, take note.
Sitting on Rooster's couch. There could be no better answer than Zeno.
2 weeks in a row with Pagoda and Rooster's couch. I think this is working. We should maybe move Rooster to a different chair.
We need
this
to call
is
that,
working out.
Put Rooster on a stool.
This is the Roost.
I think Rooster on a stool would be great.
That would be good,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
He'll be a little more edgy, a little closer to you.
On a high stool.
I think they need to move production to the same region as this, to expand production and start making rolling in the same region as this
Whispering Angel. Correct.
Where is that Pagoda?
Whispering Angel? I have no idea.
It's in
The region.
Provence.
There you go.
He already forgot.
He forgot. He doesn't remember anything.
He got it though. He's good. He's good.
To his credit, he did say his memory was trash.
It is. But you know what? I was just imagining Rooster on a stool where he's straddling the
Put him in the
stool.
middle. Put him in the middle, like Socratic.
Staring, staring right at you, Pagoda.
What do you think of this cigar?
Smoking Zeno's.
Correct.
All right, boys, we're into the last third here on the Hoyo de Monterrey Epicure number 3. What are you guys thinking?
It's an outstanding cigar. Really.
I hate giving, after that conversation, I hate giving Habanos credit,
No, I know.
but this cigar is really good.
It's delicious. We're all roughly in the same stage. It's about 1.5 inches from the bottom. There are no rough edges. It's getting richer. It's delicious as you go through it.
This is honestly even better than I remembered it.
Dude.
This is excellent.
Yeah, this is really, really good. I'm shocked at how good it is. I'm shocked at how the flavor continues to expand and improve. It's so complex. It doesn't taste like fresh tobacco.
I think
I'm really impressed with it.
I think Habanos may elevate this, bro.
Well, I think in 3 years, this might be a $75 cigar.
Correct.
Habanos World Days 2027.
To use Puba's jargon, not to be hyperbolic, but I think I'm in love.
Yeah. Honestly, I think Puba would love this cigar.
I think so too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I think so. I think Rooster would. I think Ricky would.
I don't think
all the guys.
anyone would put the cigar down right to
And
the
I think
bloody
the-
end.
I think the final third of this gets close to, if not medium,
Yeah.
which
yeah,
is
yeah.
great.
Absolutely. In a creamy way.
In a
Yeah.
creamy, sweeter way. Sweet
Yeah,
cream.
it's
I don't know,
it's like a sweet cream.
Yeah,
dude.
sweet cream.
Very accurate.
So I got a question now that we're.
Icelandic cream or
No, listen.
Is it from a
A
goat?
heavy cream.
Also, we can talk a lot about cream here.
I'm gonna blow right past that comment.
Correct.
So I got a question for you guys as we discussed this cigar being in line with other Hoyo cigars, flavor profile wise. I'm curious because it is an outlier to me with Hoyo, and I know you guys disagree with me on
No, I
that.
kind of agree with you.
This doesn't taste like any other Hoyo I've had.
It's different than an Epi 1, Epi number 2.
Epi 1 to me is earthy. Epi 2 is a very simple Robusto. It's not as complex as this. Even the best ones I've had, it's not as interesting.
You don't have the sweet cream effect that you're having
Yeah,
here
so-
in either cigar.
Exactly right. And what I wanted to ask the crew here, who disagree with me on my
Now,
commentary,
not to put aside the fact that those are both very good cigars, if you get a good one. If. Right.
which is probably what, 40% of the time?
That's right.
So my question is what do you compare this to at this point in the cigar? Now we're getting to the end here, but is it in line with the other Hoyos you've had? Like, what other Cuban cigar are you comparing this to?
I'll just say this. Number one in the Epi line, I think the Epi 1 is the outlier. I actually think the Epi 1 is unlike most Hoyos I've
Mhm.
had. I would even go as far as saying I don't think it has a place in that Epicure line. I think this is much more like an Epi 2 or an Epicure Especial.
Yep.
I
Yeah,
think that
yeah.
some of the best ones that you would find in the Epi 2 or the Especial have similar DNA as this cigar.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this cigar is actually milder than some of the best Epi 2s and Especials I've had,
But sweeter.
but sweeter and just the there's something. This is almost hard to explain, and there's a particular cigar that I won't mention because we'll talk about this on another pod, and it's not released yet. There are certain cigars that are milder in profile that find a way to deliver so much flavor. I just think for this cigar, there's some of the DNA of the Epi 2 and the Epi Especial, but what's unique about this is I actually think this is a milder delivery than either of those. Yet there's so much flavor and so much to be satisfied with
Mhm.
here. That's I don't want to call it a departure because I think some of the DNA is there. It's just what's unique and remarkable about what they've done. And I think that's some of the hardest to do and achieve in blending. And I have to give Oil credit, a marca that I have shit on regularly.
That's true.
And I happily admit it because there's just too many times I've been disappointed and we've been disappointed. One of the only cigars, I think there's two sticks. One was New World, and unfortunately the Cuban, it was an Hoyo Elegantes.
Mm-hmm.
That cigar, I couldn't, the construction was so poor on mine, I couldn't smoke the cigar. I had to put it down halfway through just because I literally couldn't smoke it. That is supremely disappointing for a
Yeah.
cigar that's like $20.
That's
Correct.
no,
I mean-
that's an expensive cigar. That's an
more,
LCDH.
more than that.
That's
I
an
mean,
expensive cigar now.
it's just outrageous. There are $5 cigars that I can smoke all the way through. I
Mhm.
can't believe that I would have that problem there, but this deserves a world of credit.
Yeah, this is kind of reminiscent of a meal that has very few ingredients in it, but that delivers a delicious experience. That's very, very hard to do that.
I
It's very
love
hard
that
to do.
Very
analogy.
satisfying.
It's very reminiscent of that type of experience. Few ingredients, but delicious, delicious experience.
I was flashing up the deuces when Senator was before he got to his punchline. When he was talking about the analogous to different Hoyos. that's where I see the DNA. The number 2, the Especial, that is something. I mean, those cigars for me, that's how I got introduced to Cuban cigars. I've said it before. When I think about Cuban cigars, that's kind of that's my grounding. That's my home base. And this is just, everything about this is sublime to me. I think a lot of what you were saying, it's hard to describe. When we talk about these cigars, if you guys think about how we talk about these cigars, oftentimes we're kind of, it begs the listener to actually go smoke it themselves.
Of course.
Because what we're describing is so unique and personal to us. You can't have, like, we're just enticing you. You know, we're not going to give you the full rundown of chef's kiss of what this actually should taste like. But when I smoke this cigar, I want to keep smoking it on and on and on again. And I think the listener would or should as well.
So, boys, we're coming to the end of our evening here with our pairing, the Whispering Angel Rosé and the Hoyo Epicure number 3. What a fantastic pairing.
How can you complain about this pairing?
I'm shocked. Honestly, both entrants tonight.
Yeah, very
have
surprising.
shocked me.
It was a last minute thing, and it just, I think, came together great.
It came together really, really well.
Yeah.
This is my first sip ever of a rosé.
Mhm.
I'm shocked at how much I'm enjoying it.
Will you have more of this?
I will. We don't
Yeah.
have any more, but I
No.
will when I get some.
Yes.
But it's a really, really nice, easy drinking spirit with a wine.
Be
Or
careful.
with a cigar.
Be careful. You can drink a lot of it.
You can drink a lot of
Can
it.
you believe
yeah.
Whispering Angel is distributed in 100 countries now?
Really?
Wow.
100.
Wow.
So
I'm not surprised.
By the way, so is the Lounge Lizards podcast.
Correct. That's correct.
A perfect pairing.
Pagoda, abundance.
abundance.
All right, boys, it's time to move into our ratings tonight. Let's do the formal liquor rating now on the Whispering Angel Rosé. Bam Bam, you're up.
So I have a lot of memories with this, with Mrs. Bam Bam. So my rating is going to be very high. I haven't ever had this with a cigar, however. This is my first experience. And because of what it is tonight for me and the price point, I got to give it a 10.
Wow.
I love it.
I have to give it a 10. It just worked very well with this cigar. It infused itself beautifully with the smoke. 10.
Yeah, the price point, everything's great
It's-
about this.
yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Provence.
Grinder.
I'm a 10.
No way.
I'm a 10.
What?
This-
Oh, he's had.
Wow.
I mean,
He's also had a lot of experience with this.
This guy-
I love this wine.
And Mrs. Grinder likes it as well.
She loves it. I love it. Everyone loves it. I think it goes great with a lot of things. For this cigar, I think it's found its sweet spot. I like drinking it not with a cigar. Even like I'll drink it at any time.
Same.
what are you trying to say?
I'm just trying to say I like this wine. That's all. And
In
it's
the
a 10.
shower?
Oh.
Oh,
In the shower.
You're moving into Pooba land now.
in the hot tub, on the deck.
Oh yeah.
I'll drink it anywhere. 10.
All right, Senator.
I love the enthusiasm for rosé. I'll start
Here's the
there.
butt.
Oh,
Here's the butt.
There
But
we go.
But it's a 7.
But no, I'm also going to give this a very high score. I'm going to give it a 9. I'm going to give it a 9 because at its price point, I think for how easily accessible this is, you could literally go in any liquor store, including a supermarket liquor store,
Mhm.
and you'll always reliably be able to find this. And there's no one that wants a rosé that's gonna drink this and say, "Oh, this is a bad rosé," or "I can't enjoy this." There's something to appreciate about it. I think for anybody who likes rosé, period. I think the dry nature of it is why I like it, and no matter how ubiquitous it gets, I'm always going to be happy to have a glass of it. The only reason for me it's not a 10 is it's not a complex rosé by any stretch.
Correct.
It's very straightforward, and most rosés are pretty straightforward.
Mhm.
Some rosés are more complex, and that's a journey. I'm glad that now we've hopefully, it seems, opened Pandora's box where I will source some other rosés that I think we'll enjoy, and we're going to go down that rabbit hole.
Let's go the rosé route.
Correct.
The rosé road.
All
Let's
day
do it.
rosé. All day rosé.
I can't wait to see Gizmo in a T-shirt that says "All Day Rosé."
But
This-
to-
And boat shoes.
You know, you're getting an Amazon gift package in like a week.
Let's
when
go.
One of us
I'll wear it.
procures
I hate to break it to you, Gizmo. They don't wear boat shoes in France. You're gonna need like a beret.
Oh, God. I need the shirt in schmedium, though.
Schmedium?
Schmedium.
I don't think that. Let me just say this. This is an American phenomenon. We made Rosé Whispering Angel what it is.
Oh, yeah.
This is true.
In this episode.
No.
In this fucking episode, we made it.
Amen, brother.
All right?
Yeah, all right. But
But
like,
6 million bottles in 17. They're gonna be 16 million bottles
Correct.
next year.
You're goddamn right.
but like 2015, that's kind of when it took off.
Yeah.
And that's when millennials started drinking wine, and they went for rosé hard, and that's what elevated this whole
true.
Like rosé thing. It's us here. It's not France. We just imported the shit and drank it.
It's true.
That's my story.
And the last thing I'll say just about rosé generally, and Whispering Angel is a huge part of that, obviously, story. To Grinder's point about millennials, there's so many young people that are somewhat curious about wine, but also afraid of wine. It's a massive category. You can go, it doesn't matter if you're one of the biggest wine critics in the world or just an everyday consumer of wine. You will never come even close to trying a majority of wines that exist. This is way bigger than spirits in terms of just the different, varietals and brands and vineyards and stuff. And so it's so intimidating. And what I do appreciate about rosé for the young generation, as Grinder's talking about, is it has created this like easy entry point to start to appreciate wine and go down, first the road of rosé or the rabbit hole of
Rosé road.
and then try, other whites and other reds. And I really appreciate what this category has done to bring more young people into the fold, because wine is an intimidating category. As passionate as I am about wine, it is the thing that no matter how much I learn or try, I still feel light years behind in what I should try and what I can experience in a way that I don't when it comes to spirits or even cigars. And so I think it deserves this whole category, and Whispering Angel especially, a world of credit.
Am I sensing a little humility here? That's quite the I like it.
So for me, it's also a 9. I think complexity, that's where I was going to go, is I can, like I said, this is my first attempt at rosé tonight.
Mm-hmm.
It does not taste like a super complex spirit. It's a $20 spirit. People love it, but I know that there's more
it's
out
a wine.
there.
It's not a spirit.
It's a wine.
But keep going.
He invalidated my score.
Correct.
So for the wine, my first time having it, I can taste, it's just a little bit of a rough edge right at the end of the finish.
Really?
Very, very end. The other thing too, what we do here, how it pairs with cigars, I think this would pair very well with very few of the cigars that we smoke here.
It'll definitely stay in the Cuban.
It's got to stay mild,
catalog for sure.
Cuban.
Yeah,
Mild Cuban's
agreed,
gotta be
agreed.
where it
Or
is.
mild New World.
Or mild. New
Yeah,
World.
if they're that's true.
But like
Yeah.
very, like really not even touching medium.
I mean, I say that just look, in fairness, we need to be a little introspective here. We don't review mild New Worlds very
No,
much.
we
at
don't.
all.
That's true.
That's
That's true.
So, like, I think that's being said because we don't do them, but they exist. I
They
mean,
do.
Grinder in the morning enjoys a mild New World. I've had mild New Worlds. I think
Grinder
they
loves
pair great with
actions.
this.
I mean,
He just shrugged it, Bam.
he did.
In fairness, we all love the VSG.
That's
yeah,
true.
the VSG is great.
Yeah.
But I think that I'm looking forward to seeing what else is out there. I think that at a $20 bottle, this is a great start, and I'm very, very happy with it tonight. And its pairing with this cigar was excellent, so it's a 9. I'm very happy with that. Pagoda.
To echo everyone's sentiment, I was with a client at a restaurant in New York City, and it was a hot summer day. We were sitting outside, and I ordered a chilled beer, and he ordered a rosé, and I was like, a rosé? And well, he's French, but that's really it, right? I think it's it's becoming very popular, and it's omnipresent now, and it's fantastic. I think for me, the rating is a strong 9. Really, really enjoyed this wine, and um, like I'd like to say, I'd like to give it a 9 for this beautiful rosé from Provence.
Thank you to our Whispering Angel. And the formal liquor rating tonight on the Whispering Angel Rosé is a 9.4.
That's outrageous.
What a score.
Wow.
No, what a great score for
Wow.
something which is
$20.
$20.
$20.
That's crazy.
Senator, we all said, sometimes in a backyard and we're drinking a lot of champagne. I think rosé is going to be
Oh,
in
for
the
sure.
mix for
Yeah.
sure.
For sure. I have
Alternate.
another French rosé that's like $15.
Oh,
That's
Ooh.
can
as
we
good, if
please
not
try
better
that
than this.
soon?
Oh, yeah. That's the
I
other
want to
thing.
try that.
Before summer's over.
That's the other thing that we haven't said that should be. Rosé as a category is very affordable. The most expensive rosés are not expensive.
Wow.
No one's buying a $300 rosé. That doesn't even, not that I've seen, that doesn't exist.
Mhm.
It's super affordable because it's much easier for these vineyards to make. It doesn't require age. They don't need to worry about there being any kind of harsh, aggressive acidity because it's easy to achieve that with short time. So the price point on pretty much every rosé you can pick up, you're looking at between $10 and $40.
Wow.
Period. Which is
Honestly,
great.
it's a bit of a revelation tonight.
No, it is. And,
Yeah.
on a hot summer day
Oh,
with a
yeah.
chilled rosé, just the color.
I have done it
would be
many,
enticing,
many
yeah.
times. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And sorry, the other thing we should note, rosé used to be viewed as a drink for women.
That's true.
And you look at rosé now, over the last decade, men are drinking rosé just as much as women.
Mhm.
There's no longer this, it's, for one or the other. And, I think to Pagoda's point, you're sitting out in the yard on a hot day, even having a cigar, there's absolutely a place for it.
I put it in line with, like, to your comment kind of made me think this. Aperol Spritz.
They're great.
Yeah.
They are
they're
good.
an amazing drink
They
that
are.
traditionally you think like that's a woman's drink.
Yep.
But everyone drinks Aperol
That's
Spritz.
true.
I'm so glad you mentioned that.
Or a
Which-
Negroni.
Yeah.
But that's viewed as more masculine.
That's definitely more
Yeah,
masculine.
maybe. Yeah.
But Aperol Spritz, you see a macho guy roll up to a happy hour and say, "I'll take an Aperol Spritz," like, and no one questions.
blinks an eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think they still blink an eye, unfortunately.
Well,
In the
maybe I
US.
just don't give a shit.
It's the comeback of the metrosexuals. It's about time.
Tranquilo, tranquilo.
All right. I'm just kidding.
All right, boys, let's move into the formal lizard rating now on the Hoyo de Monterrey Epicure number 3 from Cuba. Pagoda, you're up.
Oh, this has been interesting. I've been thinking between 9 and 10. It's a strong 9 for me. Really, really enjoyed. I think the sour bread. One could equate it to yogurt, but I didn't think of yogurt as
Mhm.
that didn't come into my mind when I was smoking this. But definitely the sour bread kind of feeling, and then I think the second half was really sweet cream for me. So the way I look at it is, it's like
Yeah.
for me, it was a very simple 2-act play, but good combustion, great feel on the hand, really good cigar, really good burn lines. It's fantastic, and it's a 9 for me. It's really, really enjoyed today's experience, especially with the pairing. I think they kind of complemented each other,
They did.
and it
Yeah.
might have been a random pairing. I know
It
that
was.
It
Bam
was.
walked out and just picked it out of a liquor store. It's worked so well. It's been a very pleasant night. Fantastic pairing, and it's a strong 9 for me.
So I'm also at a 9. I think tonight this is the best Hoyo I've had. It's certainly not the best Cuban cigar I've had.
Mhm.
I do think that there's room to grow in this cigar. I think with a little time, it could get even better. I didn't taste youth, but I tasted potential. And I think that this cigar, with a little bit of time, I mean, we're smoking this under a year of age. It's not even been released a year. Under a year of age, I think this cigar can keep getting better and better. And I'm curious how it will grow. And I think we should try to get some and maybe age them and have them in a few years to try them again. But
Yeah.
I think this is some of the best of Hoyo de Monterrey out of Cuba. I'm really, really impressed with the cigar. I can't say much more about it. It was really good. It wasn't great. It was really good. It's a 9. Senator.
I'm at a strong 9, and I'm going to go as far as to say it was great. I think if there's any Hoyo that a Cuban cigar smoker should try, it's this. I think for Hoyo's lighter profile, the amount of flavor that this delivers and that represents, I think, still the DNA of the brand, this is as good as it gets. I love the size. I mean, actually, I guess I do wish it was a little longer.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
If it had
so-
another inch, I think it'd be
even a
even
half
better.
inch would
Oh.
help.
Yeah.
I mean, I smoked it all the way down to the nub.
I'll take another one, please.
It's truly an excellent cigar. I mean, the only reason I didn't give it a 10 is for my palate, a cigar that's going to get a 10 needs to be able to hold up to an evening a bit better than this does. I smoked this for the first time in the afternoon. I think it is a spectacular afternoon cigar. To start any smoking session with this and then build from there, it's impossible to be disappointed.
Completely agree.
I think there's something for anyone who enjoys a Cuban cigar or anyone who likes a milder or mild medium New World cigar, I think would love this. The price point, you said we paid 20 something for this?
Yeah, it's between 22 and 25.
Yeah, I've seen them online go as high as 30, 32.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah, I literally just checked.
Oh,
A
geez.
box
Wow.
is 25 for $800.
Oof.
And you know
That's too high.
That
That's a
price
lot.
point is aggressive. But I would say even at that price point, that's why I'm at a 9. Even if it's $30, if you haven't had this cigar, I still strongly recommend. I would pay $30 to try
It's a must try.
one of these
It's a
cigars.
must
It's
Just
try.
get a
that good.
3-pack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that good.
Yeah.
And so
3 tubos.
I hope that this turns a new leaf for Hoyo, because if they can continue to make some new stuff remotely as good as this, I may detract my disdain for that entire marca.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you'll ever be able to do that with that marca, unfortunately.
All right, Grinder.
I'm the foil here because I actually really enjoy this marca. As I mentioned in previous commentary, this has a special place in my heart. I was introduced to Cuban cigars through this marca, and ages ago. And I think for a similar reason why Senator it isn't giving it a 10, I'm definitely giving it a 10 because this is right where I like to smoke my cigars. I like a more mild bodied cigar these days. And obviously there might be some nostalgia playing into this score. But as soon as I lit this, I knew this was going to be sublime. And I think that was evidenced in the whole experience tonight. I don't know what else to say. It's all the flavors that I mentioned were resounding from beginning to end. I didn't really catch a change. And for me, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah. Agreed.
If it's good.
If it's good,
Yeah.
don't change it. And they didn't change it. And I like the size. I never smoked this size, this Vitola. I thought it was perfect. I like the tapered end, whether it's a torpedo or Robusto with, torpedo, however we want to describe it. I think it really crystallized the flavors perfectly. And the burn was wonderful. The construction was wonderful. There was a lot of smoke in this room. And it's obviously a 10 for me. Obviously.
Wow.
It's a 10
Can
from
I
Kitty
add
Grinder.
one thing? Grinder made a good point about the combustion. I don't think that there is as short a cigar as this is that produces as much combustion. And I say that because I'm always the one talking about, after a stressful day, wanting to be a chimney.
Yeah. You want to be in a cloud of smoke.
Yeah, and I always, any cigar I would pick up, it's at least 5 inches in length that can deliver that experience, and then usually a 54 ring gauge. And so for this cigar in this shorter format,
Mm-hmm.
let's say I have limited time and I want to be a chimney, this is the only candidate.
I think because of as short as it is with the ring gauge, that combination and dimension, that's I think what's providing that combustion.
Yeah, and I think
Yeah.
the way that they pack the tobacco in at the
Absolutely.
blend,
Yeah.
it's working,
Yeah.
combustion-wise.
And it's dense, but it feels very light in the hand.
All right, Bam Bam, you're up.
Honestly, I'm at a solid 9. I can't tell you how much I enjoyed this. As Pagoda, you mentioned it earlier, right on the money. As you get deeper into the cigar, it got creamier. It got a little sweeter. It was enjoyable right down to the bloody end. It was a fantastic,
Totally agree. Yeah.
just a great experience. And I don't remember the last time we all gushed over a Cuban cigar like this.
It's been about
been
6
a while.
months, I think.
I'll tell you, if it was between between $20 and $25 a cigar, this would be a 10. But at $30, it's a 9.
You know, I was excited when you said it was about $20.
I was
we
too.
we
Yeah.
paid 22 for it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's fantastic.
At that price, dude, I would give it a 10.
That's
but
a steal, that price. I mean, literally
That-
everywhere I see is more than that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think a 9 is a great score for this.
All right, boys, that puts the formal Lizard rating tonight on the Hoyo de Monterrey Epicure number 3 from Cuba at a 9.2.
Dude.
Wow.
That
Very
is
excellent.
a great.
Probably the highest Hoyo, right?
Oh, by
Oh,
far.
no.
Let's go through them, boys. Let's go through them.
Great
so we've
score.
done 4 other Oyos on the podcast. On episode 18, we did the Epicure number 2, which scored a 7.3. On episode 74, we took a little break. The Elegantes LCDH, the Perfecto, scored a 4.8.
Oh, abysmal.
On episode 103, we did the Epicure number 1, which scored a 6.7.
Wow.
And finally, on episode 131, we did the Double Coronas, which scored a 7.7.
We should do the especial.
We should do the Especial.
We should, yeah.
So this is definitely the best
Oh, yeah.
Hoyo we've done on the pod. And for me personally, it's the best Hoyo I've ever had.
That
No
double
question.
Corona experience was really disappointing.
Yeah, that
And,
was a bummer.
you know, when we first had those the very first time, it was incredible. But something's happened to them.
I'm just thrilled that the fact that I had this months ago in Cuba and we've sourced this months later and had as good, if not better,
If
an
not
experience
better.
than I did. There's consistency here. That's
that-
what we are just asking of
In that
Hoyo.
cigar. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a consistent experience. If we have something we like, replicate it. And thankfully, they have finally done that.
They found the formula.
All right, boys, a great night tonight on the pod and a great pairing. Again, on the Whispering Angel Rosé, scored a 9.4, and the Hoyo de Monterrey Epicure number 3 scored a 9.2. What a great night.
Provence.
Congratulations to Lizard Sean on winning Lizard of the Week. He's going to get a nice package of stuff from us, from our humidors. And if you want to win Lizard of the Week, send us a great email, a voice memo, a comment on YouTube or Instagram. We are always happy to hear from you. Of course, thanks to our sponsor, Fabrica 5. And that's it, boys. We'll see everybody next week. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for joining us. You can find our merch store and ratings archive at our brand new website, loungelizardspod.com. That's loungelizardspod.com. Don't forget to leave us a rating and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any comments, questions, if you want to reach out, say hello, tell us what you're smoking, email us, hello@loungelizardspod.com. You can also find us on Instagram @loungelizardspod. We really appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.